Good afternoon, guys. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go over how to use a protractor. Now, the way they're telling me to do it with the notes that I downloaded, I just got like halfway through a video and I realized that I hadn't read the notes carefully enough. And the way they're telling us to do it, I feel like is very confusing because it's asking you to subtract. Now, yes, if you do the subtraction, you may be able to get a slightly more precise angle sometimes, but I just think it adds an extra step that is unnecessary. So I'm going to go through the parts of the protractor and then show you how I usually use it, which I feel is much easier. Now, unfortunately, on some of your quizzes online, you may have to do it the way they're telling you to if it will not let you twist your protractor. So on some of the tests online, if the angle is, instead of being a straight line, like a flat line on the bottom, if the angle is like this, and your protractor is like this and you can't twist it, you may have to do the subtraction. So I will share with you how to do that and I will send the notes on that, but I'm going to show you how I use it. Now I just cut this out of paper because I don't have a protractor at my house. Bad math teacher. But I feel like it'll work well enough for this demonstration. And I've also shared several Google Classroom links to digital protractor practice. So through Google Slides, there's some digital practice with protractors. So you are welcome to use that. I encourage you to, especially, I'm sorry, there's cat hair all over the floor. Especially if you don't have a protractor at home, it's probably easier. Okay, so this is a protractor. The outer scale are the numbers that go along the outside edge. They go from 0 all the way up to 180. And then the inner scale starts at 0 on the other side and goes all the way up to 180 the other direction. Now, the way that they are showing you to do it on this set of notes that I downloaded, which I really like, they want you to line the protractor up with the vertex of the angle and then take a note. So extend your rays. So you would probably, what I would probably do is just line up the bottom of your protractor and trace the rays so they're a little bit longer. And then you put both of the measurements. So if it goes to 46 on one side, you would write down 46. And if it goes to 149 degrees on the other side, you would do 149. Now, in this case, you're only going to be using either the outside or the inside numbers. You're not going to write 40 on one side and then come over here and write down 30. You're going to do 40 and then look at the outside number and write down 149. And then she's saying that you should then subtract the numbers. So you would do 149 minus 46 to get your angle. And yes, that absolutely will get you the correct angle. But this is not the way that I would recommend using a protractor because I feel like it adds an extra step. So you certainly can do that, and I will send these notes, and I feel like you do whatever you want to do, but I'm going to show you my method. So when and this is actually the protractor I cut out, I just printed it and cut this one out. When I'm using a protractor, this is what I do. The first thing you should do is always line up this little circle. Now on a real protractor, the whole thing is going to be transparent, and this circle is usually cut out so that you can stick your pencil tip in it and hold it still so it's not shaking all over the place. So let's follow her advice for this. And the first thing we're going to do is extend these rays out so we can see it all the way out to the edges of the protractor. Oh, okay, we're just going to pretend that that didn't happen. It's kind of messy. All right, so we're going to extend this one as well. So now, we can put our little protractor here, and it's hard to see because I know that this is not clear, but that is pretty much right on the vertex of the angle. So now what we can do is, normally we would line up this line through the protractor with our angle, but because we extended it out, we can line it up right here at the 180 line, which is the same as this line right here. Now, because this is where our angle starts, we are going to start from the 0 on the inner circle. Do not start from 180. I mean, you would just have to do some math to figure out what your angle is. So always start from the 0. Line it up so it starts at the 0. Now, you could line it up So it starts at the 0 on this side, if you wanted to, and I'll show you that on the next one. But we're going to start with the 0, and then we're going to go all the way up and see where our angle goes to. So in this case, it looks like it lines up right there with that one. Now, because we're starting with the 0, we need to look at what this number is on the inside. So we're not going to be looking at the 70 and the 80. We're looking at the 110 and the 100. So ours is right in the middle of those, which means that this would be 105. So this angle is 105 degrees. Now, also think about your acute and your right angles. If you use the wrong number, so if I were to use the 70 and the 80, it would be 75. But I know from our last lessons that this is not an acute angle. So it has to be more than 90 degrees. If it's a right angle, it's exactly 90 degrees. If it's an acute angle, it's less than 90. And if it's an obtuse angle, like this one, it is going to be more than 90. So that's also a big clue that you're not using the correct number on your protractor. All right, so let's look at this one. Now this time I can show you how you could use the 0 on the other side. All right, but the first thing we need to do is extend these lines, especially since this is made of paper and we can't see through it like we could on a normal functional protractor. Okay, pretty good, good enough. Now, if we wanted to, we could flip it upside down like this, line it up at the point so that it's lined up with the 0 on the outside, and then we're just going to be looking at where it falls over here. So if we look at that, and I'm going to tell you also right now, most everything that you measure is going to be pretty close to either a 5 or a 10. It's not going to, more than likely, they're not going to give you a bunch of numbers where you have to count all the little tick marks. So it looks like this actually lines up with the 27, but I'm guessing it's actually going to be a 25 degree angle. All right, now again, if we looked at the wrong set of numbers, so instead of looking at the outside, because here it's at 0, if we looked at the inside numbers, that would say it was like 160, 150 something degrees, and we know that this has to be less than 90, so that's a big clue that you may be looking at the wrong one. All right, now down here, so the first step is to extend our angle out so we can see it. Oh. Extend the other one here. Now I'm trying to do a careful job of this, but it's not perfect. It'd be good enough. All right, now we line it up. Now, so this time we can easily use this side of the protractor. So it looks like, yep, okay, so see right here it lines up exactly, basically exactly with the 30. So we start at the 0 and we look up to the 30 up there. So it lines up basically exactly with the 30. And most of the time, it's going to be a 5 or a 10. It's not going to be some weird, crazy number. All right, so I'm going to send y'all this little pretest. I'm going to send some practice. So this time they're giving you the angle measures. Like this one says AXC. So let's remember how to do this. So remember, we start with the first letter, and then we find the second one, which will be the vertex. So A to X, and then to C. So in this case, you'd be measuring where is this. Whoop. Trying to look through the camera and do this and it's not working. So we're looking at where this line is, and these, they actually, some of them are pointing to like this one is pointing to something in the middle, so you know that this is going to be the 5 between 140 and 150, and then you have to count 6, 7, so 147. So you have to be careful on some of those, but most of these are pointing straight at this main line. All right, so practice that. Now they're giving you several different ones, so it's not just these little angles. Some of them are going to be like A, X, D, and then it may even be B, X, E. So in that case, look at those notes about subtracting. And again, sometimes on a test, they may give you one where you have to subtract because you cannot adjust the protractor. So you can't move it so it starts at 0. If they give you an angle in the middle, you are going to have to subtract. So if you know that AXC is 180 degrees, you can subtract to find a missing measurement, or you could do C. So let's see if they give us one like that. Yep, so let's do this one, FXB. So let's do F, that's right here, XB. So that's this angle. F, and so that works out well because we already know that that's 147, and then the B is right on 25. So in order to find what just this angle is right here, just like that, so we're looking at this angle. It goes all the way over. So we're ignoring these lines in the middle, the rays in the middle. So if we want to know what that is, we would do 147 minus 25. 7 minus 5 is 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. We bring down our 1. So our angle that we measured is going to be 122 degrees. So this angle right up there is 122 degrees. Now, there are a lot of ways to do this. In most practical situations where you actually have a protractor, you probably will be able to line it up with the 0. That's almost always what I've done in my life. But again, on some tests and in some other situations, you may not be able to. This is how the notes tell you to do it, and this is how you can do it if you can't move the angles around or use your protractor. All right. There's also going to be this. So this one you have to estimate. This is a good skill. Remember, you're acute, you're obtuse, and 90-degree angles. So you're going to estimate what you think it might be and then measure it with a protractor to see what the actual measurement is. So like this one, we know that looks pretty close to a straight line, but not quite. So I might measure that as like, we know a straight line is 180. I might estimate that to be about 175 because it looks like it's very close to a straight line. So 170, 175, somewhere around there. Like this one, very close to a 90-degree angle, looks like it's just a little bit bigger. So I might say that's like 95, 97, something like that. That would be my estimate, just slightly bigger than a right angle. Same with this one. This one is just slightly bigger than a right angle. And some of them are going to be slightly smaller than a right angle. So think about that when you're looking at this page. All right, and I think that's all I have for y'all. Apologize for the cat hair. Trying to do this in the best lighted position, which is right by the door, and it's a thoroughfare for my cats. All right, please stay safe and happy and healthy. I am looking into some kind of video conferencing, so if anybody has questions for me, especially y'all, my students, but also parents, if y'all have any questions or concerns about homework or anything else, I'd like to set up a video chat of some kind so that we can talk about the math homework and everything else that's going on and just keep in touch that way. The school will be using an app that I am not familiar with for the distance learning. I am going to get familiar with it so I can help y'all understand it. So as soon as I know more, I will share it with you guys. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day today, and we will talk soon. Have a good one.